China will need a lot of help and also resources in its new economic development and urbanization process. And if you look at the early cycle, mid-cycle, late cycle commodities, all the metal types that China need basically fit perfectly with the metal profile of Latin America. So I'm very optimistic about continued development of China investment in the region, but I believe that the cooperations will extend beyond just mining and metal. There are other areas. For example, China is big on food safety, is big on having a degree of self-sufficiency on food product. So I won't be surprised we will see more investment in food industry related assets. And in fact, many of my Chinese friends ask me if I know of any Chilean red wine companies that they can do business with. So just to give you an example. A lot of the Chinese investments have been made in a form of a controlling stake acquisition, whereas more Japanese investment were made in a form of joint venture. That in part has to do with how the investments were made. As I said earlier, a lot of Chinese investments in the region, they were made through acquiring Canadian mining companies that have Latin America assets. So that almost dictated that it will be a majority stake acquisition. But I think that if we can have a better platform for Chinese companies to discover other types of investment alternatives, they really should consider the pros and cons of having joint ventures, because it's difficult enough to do business in a different country, let alone to operate a mine. If you can find a good partner, let them operate a mine, you just secure your resource. That would be one way to do it. But I think that the three difficulties for Chinese companies doing overseas investment: one is to find the right project, second is to get the transaction done, and the third will be to integrate it. I think that not enough mechanism or asset platforms have been done in the phase one to help them identify projects. And so as the business community continue to develop this type of bridges between China and Latin America, there are more opportunities being presented. I can see that Chinese companies will diversify the ways of investment. I think that more can be done. More can be done. Actually, both ways. On the China side, nowadays many students in college, they study English, but very few study Spanish. So 2 years ago when I visited Chile, I told some of my friends that if you can and form a successful Spanish language school, you probably would be making a lot of money. And I'm still of that view. And at the same time, I think many students in Latin America can speak English, but very few can speak Chinese. So probably learning Chinese would be helpful. I think that these two regions have a lot of growth potentials. They can grow together. But the basic of any cross-border relationship is actually a cultural exchange, and culture starts with language.